Hey folks, how's it going? I just wanted to kind of catch you up. Now it's April 22nd. We're starting to really get nice weather. We're getting toward that barrier, that Mother's Day deadline where we're pretty well guaranteed to not have another frost. So this is the week, and it feels like it's getting ready to rain, but not too hard, which is perfect. So I want to spread seed, and you can see I've cleared out a few buckets of compost, and I've picked a lot of trash, including tarp, out of the garden. You know, the previous owners, they just wanted no maintenance whatsoever. So they planted a lot of non-native bushes like this box plant, and as I'm able, I'm going to tear them out. I tore all the bushes out front because it was all non-native, crap, burning bushes. I pulled out 2 burning bushes. So anyway, getting to the point, I wanted to show the yard. Still not really coming in like it will because it's early in the season. I mean, a lot of my neighbors, this barely turning green, but I've got good healthy grass, and as always, no weed killers, no harsh chemicals, just a little organic fertilizer known as human urine. And as you can see, it's looking good. It's looking real good. Now, I had a fairly good section of dandelions as I come out here, and you'll notice when you start getting into the more bare areas, you're going to get, dandelions. This is where a Indiana red maple didn't make it, so we're starting to get a few broadleafs there, and you can see I just mowed yesterday, but you can see the tails of the dandelions. And as I walk this way, there's a section right down the middle here that is not particularly healthy, and so I'm getting some dandelions and some broadleafs, and I don't pull them, I don't kill them, I don't do anything to them. They grow where grass isn't ready to grow, where the soil's not ready to grow a nice grass. And I don't know if you can see this, but a lot of places, let me get a close up here, a lot of places I have a mixture of grass and clover, and it grows wild. A lot of this is red clover, and it has beautiful flowers once it gets up about 4 to 6 inches. So I usually let a patch and a row here and there grow and get those wildflowers going. It's just beautiful out here. And this is my pride and joy. This is a tulip poplar, which is the state tree of Indiana. And as you can see, it's going to make it. Planted it last year. It was midsummer. So I planted it. It did grow leaves there toward the end of the summer. And the leaves did shrivel up and fall off just like you would expect. So I was curious. I was hopeful this thing would come back. But the thing about native trees, they are adapted to your environment. These things love clay soil. Everybody complains about clay soil. If you've watched my videos before, you know that probably every time I do this, I talk about our clay soil. And now when the builders come through, when the builders come through, you can see I'm doing work on that fence, and I'm actually turning a section of fence into a gate over here. because we got a nice pond back here and I want to be able to crack it open and see it. So it's a lot more work than one would think. And I kind of wish I would have maybe just started from scratch and made a gate. But anyway, it's fun. Stuff is fun. So the reason I wanted to get you out here was, you know what, I'm going to show you a cedar tree. Red cedar trees are also called eastern red cedar. Hey, there's some of the red. There's some of the red clover. Yeah, and you can see these things are gonna. So in this area, there's a lot of dry patches, partially because if I grow veggies right over here. I'm not doing it this year. I'm doing nothing but flowers this year, but anyway, the eastern red cedars are native, and they will pop up. They will pop up on the south side of the house and south side of things. So if you're in the Midwest, look for these suckers. So there she is. A little mulching. I actually had this thing potted last year, and over the winter I had it sitting outside, and it looked about 90% dead. So this was a situation where I basically said, well, screw it, I'll put it in the ground on the south side of the house and see what happens. And boy, it has taken off. So try not to spin around too fast here for you. Okay, so again, you know, we've lived here 5 years. We're dealing with a lot of 20 years of just cosmetic crap, where the lawn is just, soil's dead, no worm, just on and on. So I've got, like I said, I've got some non-native plants still left. Now I planted this arborvitae, which is actually, I'm zooming in. I planted that 3 years ago just because it was given to me. And people love these arborvitaes, but they're native to the West Coast. So you tell me, why do they like the western red cedar and not the eastern red cedar? And I've been avoiding showing you this. This monstrosity is basically a bunch of common pear trees bunched together so they form this huge bush. I hate this thing, and I'm going to take it out. If you know anything about either Bradford pears or common pears, they are pure garbage. They are invasive, they suck, they're horrible, there's just nothing redeeming about them. Alright, so let's go over to the flower beds. Now, this is the part that always kills me. People will often, whether they till or not, and they want nice, bare, beautiful soil, kind of like this, right? And then they plant into it in little rows, 1/4 inch, 6 inches apart, and all that. Well, here's the thing. Have they never noticed that plants like to grow in a crowd? That's part of why killing the weeds in your lawn is kind of stupid, because you're just creating bare spots. You know, those weeds are your friend. The only reason they're a weed is because somebody called them a weed. You know, our foster kids that are from Honduras, they never seen dandelions, and they thought this sea of dandelions was just beautiful. They did not distinguish between dandelions and flowers. So anyway, I'm going to show you something here to illustrate the point. Now, these are the cornflowers. All these little bushes type things will grow like crazy amount of flowers, and they're nice and they're long stem. They're not particularly large flowers, but let me just show you. Here's one, but they are really beautiful. There's one. and this is just coming in. But look at this. This is just all one plant, and already I'm seeing all kinds of, this plant looks like it's going to be pink and violet. They come in lots of colors, and the reason they call them cornflowers is because they're great at attracting pollinators. And so you put them in the cornfield near, you put them near the corn, and they'll help the pollinators come around and pollinate the corn. And I've watched over the last month, I don't know how many bees and pollinators just all over this place. When I had the dandelions, especially, I had dandelions growing like crazy in that flower bed over there. But here's the thing I want to illustrate, okay? Plants like to grow in a crowd. They've got this bush to kind of shade, and just notice the number of them. Now, if you look close down here, I've got some that are yet to come up. There's actually, this thing's probably going to fill out completely. There's a little healthy looking one, and there's one. And these things are really, growing, and they're packed in tight, and they love this. But over here, they didn't have the bush for shade, so they come in a little bit more thin. And look, they're not nearly as tall. They're growing, and bird bath there. They're growing, and again, you notice I don't pull these weeds. I don't get rid, they're going to help the flowers. It's not an accident that there's some dandelions mixed in here with where those really thick ones are. So here again, you can see they're coming in, but they're coming in more sparsely. And over here, the further we go, the more sparse they become. And look at what they're doing. They're just barely coming and starting to grow. There's a few of them here and there. There's a little patch of them there. And it just illustrates a very simple point. Plants like to grow in a crowd. Anyway, so I am hoping this thing just fills out like crazy, and I have fresh flowers every day just from this one bed. I've got 5 beds. All right, now let's move over to what I'm working on right now. This is a flower bed. I did decide to go ahead and till it because there was more of the tarp. Don't get me started. Like I said, so I kind of have it in different segments here, right? So I dug it out about 6 inches, and I threw down a bunch of branches and sticks to fill it out. It's funny how quickly sticks will decompose if they're underground. They just, insects love them. And they even provide habitat. Little tiny insects will wedge themselves into the bark. And so what I did was I dug it out, and I just amended it with the compost-rich potting soil. And this stuff wasn't fully composted. Who cares? You can see the paper, the little bit of cardboard. Paper actually does a nice job of holding the moisture right there at the surface. So then I'm going to fill this in and come over here. This part's getting pretty well done, and then there's a eastern red cedar that I planted. I think this is the 3rd year for that one. And then as I move along here, I'm just throwing down some of these sticks. I got lots of little sticks that I'm going to use as mulch. And again, if you look at what's growing where, there's rocks and sticks, they like to be kind of up against something. And so I'm just going to give them lots and lots of nooks and crannies, under little pieces, next to little pieces, little sticks. And what I do is I don't sow the seeds. I don't go 1/4 inch, none of that. I just basically spread the seeds in a certain area. I'm going to do herbs down at this end, and then I'm going to come this way and do different herbs. I got about 7 different types of basil. Then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to do hollyhocks kind of up in this area, and hopefully, and then I'm going to do catmint. And I'm thinking what I might do is I might do it kind of along this back side. And I didn't have much luck with catmint last time, but I'm redoing the way the drain is working to where I'm creating a low spot here. Drying out in the early morning heat was the problem. I just couldn't keep the thing watered. So hopefully this is gonna. And I'm growing lots of parsley, basil, oregano, all that kind of thing, so that hopefully it'll grow quickly and it'll start shading itself quickly. So I'll tell you what, I'll make a follow-up video in a couple weeks and we'll see where we're at. Till next time, peace out. Thanks for watching, and spread the word. Stop with the poisons.